Today on Michigan Crossroads, we focus on some of those special places we like to go. First, we take a look at the history and culture of the beautiful Belle Isle State Park. Then we stop to recharge at Tung's Coffee Shop in Wyandotte. And finally, our journey ends in Ann Arbor with a history lesson on the famous Big House.
Take time, do what you're gonna do and just smile. You're gonna see it through and your wings are gonna sprout and lift you off the ground. No, no, take time, do what you're gonna do, just smile. You're gonna see it through, your wings are gonna sprout and you will learn to fly. Well, take time, do what you're gonna do and just smile. You're gonna see it through, your wings are gonna sprout and lift you off the ground. You're gonna do, just smile. You're gonna see it through, your wings are gonna sprout and you will learn to fly.
Hello, and welcome to Michigan Crossroads. I'm your host, Taisha Vinson, and today we're going to be talking about a hidden gem located right in the middle of the Detroit River. It's no secret that Michigan's largest city, Detroit, has had its share of problems in recent years. And one of the casualties was the neglect of the city's largest and perhaps most amazing park. In this segment, Noah Piggott discusses the rise and fall of this beautiful island and its recent rebirth and revitalization.
One of America's most unique parks, Belle Isle's storied history is long, tragic, and inspiring. This island park, located between the borders of the United States and Canada, was once a gem of the bustling Detroit, Michigan. The third largest island in the Detroit River, connecting Lake St. Clair to Lake Erie, the park is 982 acres of recreational area connected to the mainland by the MacArthur Bridge. Belle Isle's size even exceeds the famous Central Park of New York City by 140 acres. Just on the edge of the Detroit city skyline, Belle Isle is a beautiful example of rebirth for the region and redemption for a once abandoned keepsake. The first known settlers of the island go back to the Potawatomi Indians, who called the island Wanabeezy, which means White Swan. Through the years, the island changed hands several times until the city of Detroit purchased it from the Bartimus Campo family in 1879. The park was not originally designed to be so elaborate. The original architect, Frederick Law Olmsted, who also designed New York Central Park, withdrew from the park's development, and very few of his ideas ended up being used. Olmsted wanted the park to be very rustic and natural. Others from the city administration had grander ideas for the park. Through the first quarter of the century, Detroit continued to boom. Detroit was a world-class city, and its world-class park was an example of its success. The island was a haven for the city's population to escape for the weekend and enjoy nature or the beach. Citizens could canoe through the canals and ponds, enjoy a walk through the conservatory, and enjoy colorful fish in the aquarium. As the century continued, Detroit's success did not. The Depression hit, and many of Detroit's citizens left. As tax money dwindled, so did the city's prosperity. Without the tax revenue, services in the city started to suffer. As the city declined, the racial tensions increased. Tensions between the white and African American cultures started to peak. The city was no longer the diamond of the Midwest. The city's structures and properties became neglected, and with it, so did the beautiful Belle Isle. The decline of the city went on for decades. Tough times hit the city of Detroit.
When I was in high school, Then that kind of turned into, okay, we got a driver's license. A lot of my friends had old school cars, and it was just weekend. What you doing? Let's hit the aisle. It was a rapper from Detroit, Blade Icewood. They had a thing on television called 7 Mile to Belle Isle. So it just turned into like, that's the spot. Let's go to Belle Isle. Let's hit the aisle this weekend. It had a certain time to shut down. So they'd come out and just have it blocked so you can't go back past them. And they'll just push you off the island. So it varies. But yeah, we stayed out there until they blew the horns, lit up everybody, and said, okay, it's time to go. Move, move, move. So.
At the end of the 20th century, groups started to merge in hopes of resurrecting some of the island's jewels. The Belle Isle Botanical Society began raising money to improve the conservatory. In the early 21st century, the Friends of the Belle Isle Aquarium was formed in hopes of reopening the 100-year-old aquarium. Now, all these organizations fall under one group, called the Belle Isle Conservancy. With their work, they have helped reopen some of the long-abandoned gems of the island. Another blessing to the island to help spur its comeback was the reinstating of the Detroit Grand Prix. The Grand Prix originally was held through the downtown streets of Detroit. When a deal to move it to Belle Isle fell through, so did the automobile race. The event was moved out of state to Arizona. In 2007, led by race car mogul Roger Penske, the Detroit Grand Prix was re-established on Belle Isle. The race was a huge success, and the event continues to be held on the island.
I believe that the Grand Prix coming back to Belle Isle is good for the city, only because of the exposure that it brings to the island and the money that comes from the Penske organization that puts it together, and the international exposure that the city gets. Because when you watch that race on TV and know that it's internationally shown, you see just how beautiful the city looks. It's just so exotic looking. I don't think that can hurt.
In 2013, with the controversial bankruptcy of Detroit, the state of Michigan made an agreement with the city to lease Belle Isle and make it a state park. This ended up having a huge beneficial impact on the storied island. The state quickly came in and started making some long-needed updates and repairs. They also started to crack down on the loitering and speeding that was a common occurrence on the island. Now, instead of just racing cars, you will find the island provides a safe place for walkers to enjoy the morning sunrise, a place for the city youth to experience natural wildlife, and the beauty of the James Scott Memorial Fountain. You can view the Nancy Brown Peace Memorial in its beautiful surroundings, and check out the Great Lakes Museum. Visitors can take a look at the Coast Guard Station, and drive or boat by the Detroit Yacht Club. Many organizations make Belle Isle the venue for their events. Everything from family gatherings to high school reunions make use of the island's picnic facilities. Even more so now that Belle Isle is safer and cleaner. Belle Isle has once again become a jewel to be treasured, right in the middle of international waters.
It's great to see that Belle Isle is thriving once more. And with all the renovations that the state has made, the island is now a regular family gathering place for the city's residents. While some prefer the outdoors of Belle Isle, others are perfectly content relaxing with a nice cup of coffee. Small mom-and-pop coffee houses have been a recent trend, popping up in both city and suburban neighborhoods. The locals of Wyandotte often get their caffeine fix at Tongue's Coffee Shop. The cozy ambiance is an ideal place to catch up with friends, work on homework, enjoy music, and just relax, all while sipping a good old cup of joe. Andy Tagani discusses coffee and the business's appeal with owner Timmy Tung.
The city of Wyandotte. An eclectic array of tasteful local businesses and chains. It's quaint, it's cozy, it feels like home. And at the intersection of quaint and cozy lies Tung's Coffee, which is actually at the intersection of Biddle and Elm.
Tung's was built in 2011. We did probably about 5 to 6 months of renovation to the Tung's business. It used to have drop ceiling and was very, how would you say it, retro at the time. So we ended up doing a lot of construction. We ripped down walls and exposed the original 1968 brick and brought some old school to the new school area.
For the I like the building. Yeah. I like the menu.
Wyandotte itself. We like Wyandotte. Came down here to have some coffee and work on the computer a little bit.
My father and I went in together and opened it up, and we've been partners for about 4 years, and then I just recently bought his share out, and so now I'm sole proprietor, and it's very exciting being my age and having my own business. Starting it was just a passion of my father's and I. We both really enjoyed coffee, and it was just something I was in between jobs, so I had nothing but time to work on a coffee shop.
I just like how also the music, big music fan.
We have great music. There's a lot of talent in Wyandotte, and that was one of our biggest things that we've enjoyed so far, is just stumbling upon all the good musicians and artists in the local area. It varies. Last week we had a piano recital. We have folk, we have country, we have rock, jazz, a little bit of everything. It just depends on the weekend. We try to keep it all various different types of music so we can cover all genres. When we found out there was a big following for musicians in the area, we decided we should take on an open mic night. We did an open mic night every Monday. We switched it to every first Monday of the month. We usually get about 25 different musicians every first Monday of the month, and it's from 7 to 10, and just fantastic. It's a lot of fun.
Everything is obviously as smooth as their espresso now, but Tung's startup was not without its challenges.
Just getting our name out there, approaching the community, being a part of the community. I'd say all of our experiences have been very, very good. Now it's just getting new people in the door every day and making sure everyone's happy and enjoying the atmosphere.
I don't think an inconvenient truth used the word atmosphere as much as the folks at Tung's.
The atmosphere I like. They're always playing music and they always greet you at the door.
Definitely the location, the atmosphere, our staff, conversating with everyone is huge. I would say it's unique because we're outgoing, we're not corporate by any means. We're very, we give a lot of people free range to throw events and stuff like that, and I would say just being unique and independent is our biggest draw.
The most rewarding part about working here is having a job that I can come to mostly every day and not hate it, love what I do, and just something as simple as coffee, make people happy about it, make people feel better about their day.
Tung's has an eclectic mix of patrons to match its unique aesthetic.
Creative, and all diverse ages, anywhere from 21 to 65 and older. It's very cool. We kind of have a bar atmosphere, but we don't serve any alcohol beverages, so everyone feels comfortable sitting at the bar, and we can get young talking to old, and middle-aged talking to just all different diverse groups of people, and it's just really cool to see the different creativity go on.
This is a very nice place to come. It has a nice ambiance. I really enjoy the smoothies. They're nutritious and delicious. I appreciate that they are letting me and other artists show art here.
There have even been some rather notable celebrities who stumbled into the shop.
Joe Rogan was in here. That was pretty cool. YouTube sensation called Landon Austin played here. A lot of younger girls showed up for that one. We also were featured in the MTV show Catfish. A few locals that are entertaining. Other than that, everyone's pretty down to earth. You get your usual. They're very interesting. Other than that, it's just really cool to see the different walks of life.
It's very relaxed and cozy. The baristas I all know, sort of personally, so that's nice. And there's good art.
We do a local art show once a month. Various different artists will come in and we feature them for an entire month. They get to throw their own show, and it's a lot of fun. It's good for starting artists, and it's good for the community.
With this business being nothing but a success, the natural question would be whether expansion is likely, or if the business is fine where it's at.
Yeah, I would definitely consider expanding, maybe opening up another one later down the road, but I really want to perfect what is underneath my shoulders right now.
The store has been in business for many years, in a part of downtown where long stays are uncommon among businesses.
What kept tongues here would definitely be the dedication, hard work, and just the non-stop making sure everything is correct, making sure our product is on par for being the best. We really pride ourselves on giving top-notch service and drinks.
Visiting in town from Colorado, this used to be my spot a couple of years ago. I used to come in and play chess with my friend Jake, and just came to come in and see what's new. It feels super familiar. Great coffee. Zingerman's is awesome.
The future is improving on what we have now. Improving on our menu. We just recently took over a juice and smoothie bar, all organic. So just improving drinks, trying to touch more people's taste buds.
The future of Tongues Coffee seems to reflect the attitude of its owner. Optimistic.
Not every business is guaranteed to survive, even one as popular as Tongues Coffee Shop. Unfortunately, upon completion of this segment, the coffee house was forced to close its doors due to a disagreement over property rental rates. The Wyandotte community will surely miss this family establishment, but don't count Timmy Tongue out just yet. Given the right conditions, you may still see this coffee shop reopen sometime in the future. Speaking of houses, the city of Ann Arbor is home to one of the most famous houses in the world. Sporting their maize and blue attire, over 100,000 fans flock there every Saturday in the fall, chanting their favorite fight song. It is home to the University of Michigan Wolverines and is one of the most widely recognized sporting facilities in the nation. Cody Draper takes us on a journey through the Big House, the nation's largest football venue, and gives us an inside scoop on Michigan Stadium.
What a football game we're going to have here this afternoon.
You are looking live at a sold-out 103,000
Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. And the football game from Ann Arbor.
The nation will rock with the praises of the maize and blue this evening.
Michigan Stadium, commonly referred to as the Big House, home to the University of Michigan football team. It is one of the most iconic stadiums in the country.
It's the face of Michigan football, honestly, in my opinion. When you think of Michigan football, you think of the Big House.
On Saturdays in the fall, over 100,000 people flock to Michigan Stadium, completely taking over Ann Arbor. Although the Big House is nearly 90 years old, the origins of Michigan football date back even further. The University of Michigan first began playing varsity football in 1879.
But the first home games in 1883 were actually played at the Washtenaw County Fairgrounds. And Michigan played a couple games at various places in Detroit over the years as well, mostly so that the large Detroit alumni base could see the team play.
As their popularity grew over the decades, this required corresponding increases in the size of their home fields. They played at Regents Field from 1893 until 1905, and the seating size grew from 400 to around 15,000 in that time. Their home for the next couple decades was the nearby Ferry Field, whose track is still in use today. It was built to accommodate the increasingly large crowds. At its peak, it held over 40,000 people, but that still was not enough.
It soon became clear to Yost and other people that even at 48,000, the demand for tickets was great enough that Ferry Field was no longer sufficient. And there were plans looked at to see whether Ferry Field itself could be expanded, but engineering and other considerations made it clear that that site itself could not support a larger stadium, and they began looking for sites for a new stadium. In the early 1920s, Fielding Yost had begun researching stadiums. He'd compiled a scrapbook of diagrams and photographs of stadiums all over the country, from the Yale Bowl for Yale University, the California Memorial Stadium for Berkeley. Minnesota had built its new stadium in '23, and he even went back to looking at ruins of Roman coliseums and amphitheaters for design ideas.
Yost put forth a proposal that was adopted by the Regents in 1926, which outlined, among other things, the plans for building Michigan Stadium. It called for a stadium built into a hill, with an initial capacity of 72,000 and room to expand beyond that. Construction began with excavation in the fall of 1926. A higher than expected water table forced them to use more advanced draining methods, but progress marched on. By spring, they were ready to start pouring concrete. Despite the enormity of the task, Michigan Stadium was finished in time for the 1927 season.
So the opening game was played against Ohio Wesleyan, which, whether it was coincidence or not, that was the first team Fielding Yost had coached. The formal dedication of the stadium was against Ohio State. Opening day game on October 1st was played in kind of a rainy, bad weather, and a crowd of about 27,000 was all that showed up for that. But the dedication day game was a complete sellout, and there were various festivities and events planned. They actually brought a couple of caged wolverines in from the Detroit Zoo and paraded them around the stadium. The governors of Michigan, Ohio, and athletic directors of both schools took part in the ceremony, and it was, by all accounts, a great success, plus the fact that Michigan won the game 21-0.
Over the years, Michigan Stadium has undergone a variety of renovations. Some of these include electronic scoreboards in 1930, additional rows of seating in 1948, a new press box in the 1950s which also put the attendance above 100,000, and state-of-the-art luxury boxes in 2010. Michigan Stadium has remained among the largest college football stadiums in the country throughout its entire history, and has had the largest seating capacity since 1998. Ever since 1975, every single Michigan football home game has had an attendance figure above 100,000, an ongoing streak of over 250 games.
Our attendance for today's game, 111,829. Thank you, and go Blue.
Despite some rough times, the Big House has packed in over 100,000 people for every home game over the last 40 years. This streak, and Michigan Stadium's title as the largest football stadium in the country, ensure that the Big House remains well known around the nation, and a place that fans love to visit.
To have the most fans in one place at one time, that's special.
People all over the country know the Big House is the home of Michigan football and Michigan athletics, but probably more importantly it is what over the years has financed the athletic department. The revenue from football supports not only football, but all of the other varsity sports and Olympic sports that are funded by the athletic department at Michigan. In many ways it is, some people refer to it as the front porch of the university, as John Bacon, I believe, calls it that. So in many ways it is a symbol of the university.
Michigan Stadium is home to more than just football as well. Spring commencement is held there annually. The largest collegiate hockey and professional hockey games have both been hosted there. And of course, the football team still plays there, having recently completed their first season under coach Jim Harbaugh. The Big House has had an impact on many people of all ages.
I've gone there a lot of times with my dad, a lot of times with my grandpa. I'll never forget taking my fiance there for the first time. So there's just so many memories with family and with people that mean a lot to me.
Walk in there and you're kind of taking it all in. A lot of people don't get to do this at my age, and it just kind of feels like home.
Thanks to the many renovations, Michigan Stadium has remained a premier place to play and watch college football. It has easily become one of the most recognizable parts of the University of Michigan. People around the world know the Big House.
Next football season, come on down to Ann Arbor early, party with the champions of the West, and have yourself a great time, unless of course you're from Ohio. So the next time you're looking to have a picnic with a few friends, want a cup of joe in your downtime, or feel like celebrating along with thousands of cheering fans, you can easily find a good place to visit, no matter what mood you're in. I'm Taisha Vinson, and that's all we have time for today. Keep an eye on the road, and be sure to look for our next episode of Michigan Crossroads.